Welcome back to the channel. This is a brand new video in a new series of videos that we're going to be doing all about our favourite and least favourite. But we're going to start with my favourite roller coasters in the Orlando area, so my top 10 roller coasters. And for the purposes of this video, we're going to include Busch Gardens, which isn't in Orlando, it's in Tampa, but we're going to include that as it's one of the main theme parks when you talk about roller coasters in Orlando. So it's going to be from Busch Gardens, Disney, Universal and Seaworld. It won't include anything from Fun Spot or Legoland or any of the other smaller parks and amusement places, and it'll only include all the roller coasters that I have ridden. So have a guess at what you think my number one roller coaster in Orlando is going to be. Pop that down below, and then at the end you can see if you're right. And if you like this kind of video, please like it down below as well, and subscribe if you don't mind. It will really help me out. So let's dive right in there with my number 10 roller coaster. So at number 10 is The Mummy, which is at Universal Orlando. I really love this roller coaster because it's dark. There's heat in there. Like I've went in there with sunburn on my shoulders, and it really gets you. And it's entertaining. If you like the Mummy movie, you'll like the roller coaster as well. The theming that's in there, it goes back, it goes forward, it does little drops. It's just really good fun roller coaster. That's number 10, The Mummy. Number 9 is Cobras Curse, which is over at Busch Gardens in Tampa. And I really enjoy this coaster. It is so much fun. It's a spinning roller coaster, but it doesn't really take off in terms of the spin until the second half of the roller coaster, but it starts off, it's got a very unusual lift hill where you just go vertical up, and you're facing a cobra, a snake, and then you start going around and you start spinning a little bit, and it's just really fun. Definitely a good family coaster. I've been on there with friends who don't really like roller coasters, and they thoroughly enjoyed it, so I'd highly recommend Cobras Curse over at Busch Gardens. That is number 9. Number 8 is a favourite of many, Everest. So Everest is at Disney's Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World, and this is a really well themed roller coaster. It was the world's most expensive roller coaster when it was built, I think. And even though there's an animatronic in there that's never worked, really, it's still a really good roller coaster. It doesn't take away from it. So you start off, you're climbing Expedition Everest, you're moving around the track. There's a hidden Mickey if you look at it from the sky, as well, in terms of the track and the mountain, the way that it works out. It's a hidden Mickey. But you go in there, the track's broken at the top, so you get a little bit scared, and suddenly you shoot backwards. And for me, this is the best bit. When you go backwards in the dock, it's pitch black. Can't see a thing, but the G-forces that you get going backwards, round the corner and up, amazing. And the drop, it's over within like half a second. You don't really see it, but such a fun roller coaster, and I can ride that over and over again 6 times in a row is my record. That's number 8. Number 7, Rip Ride Rocket at Universal Studios Orlando. So a lot of people don't like this roller coaster, and it is a little bit rough, but I think it's thoroughly enjoyable. It's a roller coaster that I was pretty scared of trying for a very long time because of the vertical lift hill. So you're going up, you're lying on your back, although it feels like you're tilted further than just lying on your back. And I normally have my eyes closed for the whole of that lift hill until we get to the top and then go down. This roller coaster never goes upside down. It gives you the feeling that it might, but it never actually goes upside down. You just get very close to it, and that adds a little bit of a thrill factor to this roller coaster. Not to mention the fact that you can choose your music on there as well, and there is a hidden music selection as well as the main ones that you can see. Such a good roller coaster, really good fun, in my opinion. That's number 7, Rip Ride Rocket. Number 6 is The Hulk. at Islands of Adventure, Universal. The Hulk is fantastic. I've ridden it in the previous incarnation before it got replaced, and in the current one, and I much prefer the current one, possibly because it's a lot smoother and newer. Although it does shake you about a bit, so you can come off a little bit heavy-headed because your head's being banged around a little bit, but it's so much fun. All the loops, the I think there's a corkscrew in there. Forgive me for not knowing what all the loops and things are called, but the launch out of the tunnel and then going straight through the corkscrew, and amazing. I really love this roller coaster, and it's another one that I can ride a few times in a row, but not too many, because it does give you, or gives me rather, a bit of a headache. But I really love Hulk, the roller coaster. Islands of Adventure, really good theming. Number 5 is a pretty new roller coaster. It is Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, and other words, at Islands of Adventure, Universal. This is, like I say, pretty new. It only opened last year, and we were lucky enough to be able to ride it, because at the time when we went, it was constantly breaking down due to bees, leaves on the track, bad weather, funny smells. Well, you know, whatever reason they gave on any particular day. But it's such a fun roller coaster. Caroline didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. The theming on this roller coaster is fantastic. The queue is brilliant, and then all the way around, it's the only roller coaster that I've been on that is themed all the way around with animatronics and music and sounds, and just such good fun. And for a coaster that stays pretty close to the ground for most of it, it does have a drop and a little bit of a where it goes straight up and then falls back down. Just thoroughly enjoyable. It's like it really is like you're riding a flying motorbike, but I think it would feel like. Ride this roller coaster, brilliant. So that's number 5, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure. Number 4 is another scary roller coaster, Tigress, over at Busch Gardens in Tampa. This roller coaster lasts about a minute, maybe, and it is so much fun. I've ridden this during the day and I've ridden it at night, and it's fun both times. The very first time I rode it, when I got off, I had no words to describe this roller coaster, because it really does take your breath away. You just don't. I just didn't know if I enjoyed it or I hated it. So I had to ride it again the next time I went, and realised that I really enjoyed it. And the second time it really did take my breath away, because there was no queue. We walked the queue line straight onto the roller coaster, and literally as we clicked our seatbelts in, because it is just a little lap or seatbelt, it launched. There was just no time to think about it. There are comfort straps. They're just there to make you feel good. They don't do anything. It is just a lap bar on this roller coaster. So you launch forward, then you launch backwards, then you launch forward again and do all of the loops, the hotline roll and whatever loops they're called on this roller coaster. It is so much fun, thoroughly enjoyable, although when you're upside down at the top it does feel like an eternity, just with that lap bar that isn't tight to you or anything. That is quite scary, but it gets your heart going. Fantastic coaster. If you're standing in a queue waiting to get on it, and those launches and all you hear is whoosh, scream, whoosh, and it's like brilliant. Ride Tigress if you can, but it is a scary one, just saying. So that is number 4. Number 3 in my top 10 roller coaster list is Manta at Seaworld. I've ridden Manta numerous times over several trips, and I've ridden it in most rows, but never the front row. Don't think I've ever ridden it in the front row. My favourite seat on this roller coaster that I've ridden in is in the back row on either of the side seats, so either the left hand side or the right hand side, and it really is brilliant. It just flips you around when you're in that back row, and like nothing else. I've never been on a roller coaster going down that first drop. So it's a flying coaster, so you're lying face down, you're rising up that lift hill, and then when it pulls you down, you're essentially going down head first on your back. When it pulls you down that big drop, the G-forces are so powerful, and it just really pulls you from the back row. I don't get that feeling as much in the other rows and not on the side. Fantastic, and then you do just feel like you're flying around. Such a brilliant roller coaster, really good fun. Highly recommend you go and do that at SeaWorld Orlando. On the topic of SeaWorld, I'm quite looking forward to Icebreaker, which isn't open at the time of recording this, and I've not ridden that yet. Icebreaker does look good fun, as does hopefully the new wind coaster that they're going to get maybe next year. So that is number 3, Manta at SeaWorld Orlando. Number 2, we're back over to Busch Gardens, Tampa, for SheiKra, and I adore this roller coaster. It is so much fun. I've ridden it at the beginning of a day at Busch Gardens and at the end, and I much prefer at the end because there's quite a large period of time where you're just sitting down, leaning back, relaxing, while it climbs that lift hill very slowly. It goes along the top, quite high, before it drops you, and it's quite relaxing at that point. And then when the drop, that first drop is just brilliant. It doesn't hold you there, it moves very slowly, but it's always moving, and then you just drop, and it's just an amazing roller coaster, all the way around, really relaxing and then just fun. So I'd highly recommend SheiKra at Busch Gardens. That is my number 2 roller coaster in the Orlando, Tampa area. So let's do a quick recap of 10 to 2. Number 10 was The Mummy at Universal Studios Orlando. Number 9 was Cobras Curse at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Number 8 was Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World. Number 7, Rip Ride Rocket at Universal Studios. 6 is Hulk at Islands of Adventure. 5 is Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure. 4 is Tigress at Busch Gardens, Tampa. 3 is Manta at SeaWorld Orlando. 2 is SheiKra at Busch Gardens, Tampa. And that leads us on to number 1. So this roller coaster, number 1, this roller coaster is my absolute favourite roller coaster in that area, and possibly the world. Not that I've ridden too many roller coasters, but it is my favourite. And the reason it's my favourite is from the moment you're standing there in the queue to the moment I get off this roller coaster, it's enjoyable. I enjoy every minute. It's just fun. There is not a bad part of this roller coaster. Quite often on roller coasters there's a bit that's a bit quieter when not much is happening, or gets a bit boring, or a bit samey, or where just something's not happening and you're not enjoying it. This one, from beginning to end, is just enjoyable, and it's Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. I love this roller coaster. That drop to begin with is exhilarating. It is so much fun, and I scream my head off. I've not quite managed to hold my hands up all the way around because you do leave your seat. Like I think you spend more time out of your seat on this roller coaster than in it, and it is just a tiny little lap bar. It doesn't even go all the way over your lap. It's just a tiny little lap bar, and I really do feel like I'm flying when I'm on this coaster. You hear the coaster hit the track and stuff when it's the airtime is just fantastic. You get many seconds of airtime, and Mako is just a brilliant roller coaster. So that is my top 10 roller coasters in the Orlando, Tampa, Florida area. Hope you've enjoyed my top 10. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your top roller coasters are, or if you disagree with mine. These are just my opinion, or what I feel I enjoy the most. So tell me down below what you enjoy, and see if we have some similar roller coasters there. If there's any new roller coasters that you think I should be trying that aren't in this list, let me know those as well. And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. In the meantime, keep making memories. I'll catch you later for another top video.